slipping in seaweed. I almost swore there, but I didn't. Today we are in Sunny Hunny, which is very apt with the weather. We're on the Norfolk coast again in Hon Stanton. We're going to find out why the beach here is not overly that great, why it's peerless, and apparently has Britain's biggest joke shop. So if you're brand new here, please remember to hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up and turn on the notification bell so you know when a new video is coming up. And we're going to start here, which is literally just at the end of the seafront. Big parking spot here for the cars. I'd love to hear your memories of coming to Hon Stanton as well. As a kid, I so wanted to stay in some of these caravans because literally, brilliant location, right on the beach and right next to the fair. And as a kid, you always want to spend the whole day in the fair, don't you? Special mention to this, remember this fish and chip shop as a child, and it was the roof that used to always remind me of the seaside. A very popular place to come and get your fish and chips, obviously just right here next to the car park as well. And the famous Hon Stanton Funfair, which has been here for years. I'm not quite sure if this is the actual original one that was here when I was a kid, but it was here when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I always remember going on the ghost train and it absolutely scaring the out of me. Brilliant. Obviously at the time of filming, the fun fair is currently closed, but you can kind of walk through it here, which is what we're going to do to get onto the seafront. Like I say, we've probably all got memories of the fun fair here in Hon Stanton. I think my favourite ride was over there, the umbrellas. It hasn't changed since I was a kid. I think the bumper cars were over in the far direction. That twister ride's been there for some time as well. Again, a very busy day on the beach here in Hon Stanton. In fact, the busiest I've ever seen it. As you can see, you can pretty much walk all the way to Heacham, and the tide goes out quite a way here, obviously, being at the beginning of the wash. And on a clear day, you can see Lincolnshire, Boston and Skegness, which is over there. You can't see it today because there's a little bit of haze around there. A lot of chalk you'll see on the beach as well. I always remember as a kid the sea always being like a brown colour here in Hon Stanton. Obviously it's not the colour of the sea, it's the sand and silt that gets churned up. Hon Stanton has a little mini sea life as well called a sea life sanctuary. Again, still currently closed at the moment. And something you can actually come and do when you're here in Hon Stanton, probably when coronavirus is over, is take a trip out to the Seals on one of these really cool little boat buggy things. They drive along the beach and then they kind of turn into, well, they don't turn into a boat, they are a boat as well. You can go and see the seals. Definitely worth doing. I think they do like a 30-minute tour and an hour tour as well. It runs throughout the summer. And I think they also allow you to do it in the winter as well if you wanted to do it as a private hire. I don't think I ever remember this being here actually. This is reasonably new, I think. A crazy golf course, just set back off the seafront bit. As always, there's plenty of places to go and get yourself an ice cream, a coffee. This place popped up a good few years ago actually, because there wasn't really anywhere where you could sit along the seafront, look out to sea and enjoy a beverage. They also do some great fudge in here too. See, this reminds me of my childhood. Look, the old-fashioned coloured written signs. I always remember asking my mum for candy floss. She'd never buy it. I was deprived as a child. And just like Great Yarmouth, they've got themselves a pool as well right on the beach, which is quite fun to go in with the kids. I mean, as beaches go, it's not the best beach. A lot of pebbles and stones, obviously all left from the cliffs which are further up there, which we'll see in a minute, which are very distinctive here in Hon Stanton. And there's the pool. Plenty of places to get inflatables. And because the sea here is quite shallow, the tide goes out for quite a long way. It's actually warmer than most beach resorts along the Norfolk coast. Shout out to Thomas's Bingo, which has been there again for so many years. I'll tell you something you don't see anymore, and that's people selling deck chairs very often on the beach. I mean, obviously during coronavirus, I don't think that's going to happen anywhere, but it's a shame we don't see it like you used to back in the day. You have to bring your own deck chairs, otherwise, well, you won't be sitting on the beach. And just up here on the south end of the car park, they have markets. I think it's every Sunday and bank holiday Mondays. I remember walking around with my family as a youngster, being absolutely bored out of my brain. Coming up here, we see a bandstand and the big green, which Hon Stanton is famous for. And you might remember coming up to the green here in Hon Stanton for the Radio 1 road shows that run for many years. And they always used to have great weather when they used to come here as well. This is always a popular place for motorcyclists to come show off their bikes along here. Not too busy today. And again, for as long as I can remember, this was one thing that stood out for me coming to Hon Stanton, was the beautiful green here that overlooks the sea. I mean, it's beautiful just to come here and have a picnic. There's a lot of popular fish and chip shops here in Hon Stanton. I guess like most seaside places, you know, it's always about the fish and chips. Henry's is quite a popular one, and a nice place to go and eat out as well. Did you know that Hon Stanton also boasts the world's largest gable wall of cast stone here at the Princess Theatre? This opened up as a cinema back in 1932 and was renamed for the Princess of Wales back in 1981 when Prince Charles married Diana. That is the loneliest little palm tree I've ever seen in my life. Poor little thing. It's not doing very well, is it? One thing about if you're going to come and eat like your picnic here on the green, there's always a big congregation of seagulls, so be careful they don't eat your food. Famous hotel, been here for a very long time. That's the Golden Lion Hotel and the original town hall here in Hon Stanton. You can see just how beautiful that is. So Hon Stanton is pretty small. The town centre, well, is kind of just here really. It's just one strip down here and another road down there, but it's got all your essential shops and stuff that you might need if you're here on holiday. So I was in Cromer the other day talking about the famous Cromer crab. Never heard of that before, but definitely want one. A crab roll. If you want to pop onto the Norfolk Deli Cafe. And just pointing this out, when you come here, this is the World of Fun. It's Britain's largest joke shop. Has anyone ever tried any of these? I think as a kid, I remember buying some of this itchy powder, but I'm not quite sure whether it actually works. I remember trying these as well, trying to look cool in school. Although not in school, it was behind the bike sheds. See, this is something that I would get a lot of people with, a joke biscuit. They'd dunk that into their tea, and they'd be like, what? It's not working. See, I remember when these were banned. I bought one from Spain once and I got stopped at the airport. And on the green here, just in front of the town hall, is the statue of Henry Lestrange. Between 1815 and 1862, he was an English decorator and painter, and is now often remembered as the developer and founder of Hon Stanton as it got turned into a coastal resort. So quote me if I'm wrong, I think this is one of the only, or the only, pierless pier in the UK. See, from the front it looks pretty impressive. Yeah, I get it, it's a pier. Oh, hang on. Yep, pierless. Hon Stanton Pier, complete with its own zoo and miniature steam railway, once stretched more than 800 feet into the sea. Obviously it still exists, or the front part of it does today. It was destroyed by fire back in 1870 and 1882. So not only is it pierless, but I've hardly seen any beach huts. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong here, but I haven't seen any. Okay, I've just discovered them. They're not beach huts, but they're beach chalets, which you can rent along here. Again, a bit like Sheringham, where they're like almost like a little apartment, but they're kind of like a beach hut, but don't look as nice. As you can see inside, there's not really much to them. Just, in fact, there's not even a kitchen as such. There's a cupboard and a plug. But again, you only wanted to kind of put your beach towels in and to store your stuff so you can just go out to sea, go on the beach. Hon Stanton is quite famous for its water sports because obviously the constant breeze here just along the wash. Nice little sailing club just here. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen this before. So this is, well, since I've been coming here, reasonably new. And if you wanted to rent any kayaks or do a little bit of sailing and stuff like that, you can rent them from here. Again, I will do it one day. All laid out there as people trying the stand-up paddleboarding. You can get inflatable ones nowadays as well, which is so much easier to store rather than having the big bulky boards. But yeah, if you've never tried it, and obviously these waters are quite shallow, definitely worth a try. Right, I'm walking up towards this area, but we're going to walk along here because it's actually really pretty with all the flowers, and it's what Hon Stanton is famous for. The gardens along the seafront. We're going to head on to the old part of Hon Stanton, where it all started, of course. This is a great view as well, just looking over the beach, looking northwards towards the Funfair at the top and just past the pier. Again, this is also the start of the Norfolk coastal path, as you've seen a lot in my videos actually. Just goes to show you how far you could be walking to Cromer, and then of course even as far south as Hopton. 84 miles can be done walking from this point. These are the Seafront Gardens. Always nice to walk around, especially on a beautiful day like this. They've really done well with their flowers. And a plaque here for the people that lost their lives sadly in the floods that devastated the East Coast back in 1953. A nice bit of memorial there. From 2005, they've won an award all the way through to, well, 2018. I'm not quite sure where 2019 and hopefully 2020 are. These colours are just beautiful, especially in the sunshine, the orange and yellows. I've always wanted to do that in my own garden, but never had a garden big enough. Stick a boat in it with some flowers. I think it looks really good. And this area is a nice little place to go and have a look out, find some history about where you are located in England. It's quite fascinating actually, because you're on the east coast, or classed as the east coast, but you're facing west. So Hon Stanton does get some amazing sunsets here. And you want to know why the water is sometimes not a very nice colour, is because a lot of rivers actually run in here. Obviously that's why they call it the wash, and so you get a lot of sediment building up. Just over here is what a lot of people will know why Hon Stanton is famous, and why you get a lot of that white chalky stuff on the beach from the famous Hon Stanton cliffs here, which you can really see that dividing line between the limestone. So pretty. It's also a great place to come as well if you want to go and look at some mussels and whelks as well that you can get from all these little rock pools. Feels like you're on a different planet walking down here. And the beach is absolutely littered with mussel shells and other types of shells. It's a great place to come and see some of the birds as well, just up on the cliffs here. Obviously got to be careful because as you can see, these rocks do have a tendency to fall off parts of the cliff as well. So obviously make sure you stay well away. A lovely walk if you want to get away from it all. You can just see how far I've walked actually. Hon Stanton's well in the distance now. In fact, actually just further up here is the old part of Hon Stanton, which is what we're going to come to in just a second. It's probably not the best shoe wear to go on the beach. White shoes, especially when this is brown and silty. I'm not quite sure if you can see, but further up there the tide has gone out quite a lot, and all I can see is literally a sea of people. So here we are at the old part of Hon Stanton and what remains of St Edmund's Chapel. And as we look through, you can see what used to be Hon Stanton Lighthouse. That is such a great photo. So it's like there's something missing from the lighthouse. You could probably guess what it is. And I've always been really fond of checking out places where you can stay along the coast. This is pretty unique. You can actually stay here as well. Fancy staying in there. Having breakfast out there. Drinking wine on the balcony. But yeah, this is rentable. You can actually come and stay here. It's really crazy to see all these people in the distance. They look like ants. Can you see them all? There's quite a lot of people on the beach down there. Just here is another Coast Guard lookout, which has been there, I think, since the 60s. Looks pretty impressive. Oh, you can stay there. Amazing. It's a little place where you can come and get some tea and coffee up here. Get water for the dogs. Toilet block over there. Large queues for the toilets today. And this is my favourite part of Hon Stanton. Look at the view. Miles upon miles of beach. Obviously the tide's out, but even when the tide's in up here, you've still got a massive beach. Obviously it swerves round the North Norfolk coast, and you can see in the distance the start of the North Norfolk Coastal Path, which will take you around Norfolk and of course down as far south as Suffolk as well. So if you're not a big fan of the beach in Hon Stanton, this is definitely worth a trip up to the old end. You can park here as well. Just go and explore. I would love it if you could hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on the notification bell to make sure you see my next video. You can support me on Patreon, the links are in the description, or you can even tip me via PayPal. As always, I'll see you next time.